Now on the table today we have some Nosler trophy grade ammunition. This is their 308 offering, and it's loaded with a 165 grain partition Spitzer projectile. Now on the outside it looks pretty standard. You see your exposed lead tip that's been shaven down to increase the ballistic coefficient of the projectile, which by the way is 0.41, which is quite respectable for hunting ammunition. But the interesting part comes when we take a look at the cores. Now Nosler actually loads these with two separate cores, hence the name partition. They're partitioned off from each other. Now that first core is designed to immediately expand when it comes in contact with soft tissue such as your elk or your deer, and that second lead core is actually partitioned off and designed to stay intact. Now that second core is also 2/3 the mass of the projectile, which allows for the extra momentum of the projectile to punch further into your target, creating more damage deeper into your game, which hopefully should give you a more humane kill. So before we get into today's test, we're actually going to be hosting a giveaway, and I want to explain that this video is sponsored by Nosler. Now, we're not going to allow that to affect our reviewing process. I make it very clear to all of our sponsors that I am way more interested in protecting my integrity as a reviewer and protecting your guys' decision to make the right choice in ammunition than I am with some sort of corporate sponsorship. Now, knowing that, Nosler still sent us a box of gear to give away to the viewers as a thank you for watching. So if you guys are interested, all you have to do is subscribe to our channel and share this video on any form of social media such as Facebook, and then in about a week we'll draw some names, get in contact with you guys, and give out the gear for free. So let's take a look at the results. We're going to be following this path here. Now before we get into it, I want to explain this area here. As you can tell, there's some surface damage on the Ballistic's gelatin. Now we talk a lot about kinetic energy transfer when dealing with firearms, but unfortunately, unless our projectile is traveling roughly 2,200 feet per second or faster, it's not going to have enough energy to permanently tear human tissue unless it comes in physical contact with it. Now, fortunately enough, we were traveling fast enough with this projectile to cause this surface damage. Now, keep in mind, we are looking at this from the bottom, so this part of the block was in contact with the table. Now, as the round struck the Ballistic's gelatin in the center, mind you, so we had no physical contact with the table, the outside of the Ballistic's gelatin had so much energy imparted on it that it actually tore like this. So we have damage here. So what that means is if there were organs here or other tissue, this 2" by 2" circle here would actually be damaged. Now it also completely cracked our table down the middle, which was pretty interesting. So we had about a 4 or 5" giant crack in our hard plastic table just from that energy transfer, which is pretty amazing and shows you how strong it is. So moving on, we see the projectile strike dead center at the 2" mark. We have expansion here. Now that big permanent cavity here reaches from the 2 to the 7" mark, and that is 2.75 inches in diameter. Now from the 7" mark to the 9.5" mark, we have the fragmentation of that first core leading small lead particles inside the Ballistic's gelatin. Now at the 9.5" mark, we have a 1.5" permanent cavity, so it tapered down slightly. And then at the 10" mark, it tapers down again to 1 inch. Now that 1 inch permanent cavitation reaches from 10 inches all the way out to 18 inches. This is that nice vital zone here. So we have a nice good 1 inch permanent cavity all the way out here to 18 inches. Now at 18 inches, it seems to have lost quite a bit of velocity, but we can tell that it stayed stable from the spiral pattern that is clear throughout the Ballistic's gelatin. Now after 18 inches, we have a 0.25 inch permanent cavity that reaches all the way out to 30 inches. Now at the 25 to 27" mark, it slightly widens to 30 inches, and then back, or excuse me, to 0.3 inches, and then back down to 1/4 inch. Now at that 30" mark, we lost the projectile out the side of the block, so we weren't able to recover it, unfortunately. But overall, we have a very strong performance here. We see massive cavitation early on in the gel, which would lead to massive hemorrhaging of any game that you're attacking. And then out in the vital zone, we see a nice big 1 inch permanent cavity, which would easily put down most large game in North America. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.